Hello and welcome to Long's Toys. I have another Transformers 4 Age of Extinction review for you. This is Deluxe Strafe. Here he is in the packaging. Some pretty cool art here on the card. I'll show you that more later. Unlike some of the other Dinobots that we've seen so far, Strafe comes packaged in robot mode instead of dino mode. Here's the side. Says he is Series M4 number 5. I assume M4 is for Movie 4. Here's the back of the packaging. It shows the other ones in this wave, which are Drift and Slash, which I have not been able to get my hands on yet, but I am hoping to soon. Here is the little bio real quick if you want to read that. The word Swoops is in there. I assume this guy was meant to be Swoop, but probably couldn't get a hold of the rights to that name. I'm going to probably call him Swoop. Let's go ahead and get him out of the packaging and take a look. Okay, so out of the package here we have Strafe. He's got a pretty impressive wingspan. The hinge is right here at the bottom of these claws, and they can swivel in and out. The packaging shows that the wings are basically just, there's a hinge here where it can slide up and down, and also it can turn side to side. So if you really wanted, you could kind of fold this down and almost kind of make like a cape out of it. That's kind of what the packaging shows. But I mean, he's a pterodactyl. I want the wings out to the side. I think that looks cooler. I really like the color scheme. I think the dark blue with the light blue and the dark gray and the kind of silverish white look really cool together. I'll get a little bit close up here so you can see the head sculpt. I think it's very cool. It almost kind of reminds me of like Samus Aran from Metroid. The way the thin kind of visor and then the line down the center. It kind of just looks like Samus with like a cool fin. And the fin reminds me of like G1 Swoop. So I don't know if that's supposed to be an homage to that or not, but I think it looks awesome. Ooh, let me focus back here. There we go. I think it looks pretty cool. They have the tails on the back are very rubbery, and while I like the coloring and the paint on them, this little piece here is on a hinge. But they just kind of, I was hoping they would be, sometimes recently we've seen where it's kind of a soft plastic with like a metal wire inside, and you can kind of mold it and bend it around. But I don't believe that's the case with these. I really think it's just soft plastic. And this is how they came in the packaging, and that's pretty much how they want to stay. I don't mind. I kind of like it better curled up to the side instead of just hanging down. It kind of gives it like an impish, like devil or nightcrawler kind of feel to it with the cool tail like off to the side. I don't know. I wish I could move them, but if I can't, I at least like the pose they're in. As far as articulation goes, like I said, these wings are on a swivel, so you can move them 90 degrees like that. And then they also have this pin here in the hand, or in the pterodactyl hand, that they can swivel on. The shoulder, I'll try to move this head out of the way. Actually, I guess I can't. These heads can move. You can turn them like this. I just kind of leave them like that. They're kind of cool shoulder pads. The shoulder can move up and down here. There's a swivel where the blue meets the gray. And then, and it's kind of hard to see because everything's so dark. The elbow can move like this. Unfortunately, it can't turn. The only turn is here at the swivel. There is no other. There's just the one pin for the one movement in the elbow. And then as far as the hands go, they kind of move side to side, but they don't curve back. I mean, it really does look like it's... I wonder if at one point it was supposed to fold into the forearm here because it really looks like it was supposed to. Unfortunately, the hands do not move back at all. They can only move side to side like this. So I don't know if that's like something, a design they changed later on. Not really sure. It kind of feels like it. Let's see. We have no waist movement. We have kind of a ball joint here in the hip. A swivel again where the dark blue meets the black. And then a knee joint that's pretty much 90 degrees. So that is it for articulation. Oh, I'm sorry. The head is also can move side to side. Can it move? It can kind of. The head doesn't so much move front to back as for the transformation it just goes down into the chest, so you can do that a little bit. But the head itself, the joint just swivels side to side. Alright, Strafe does come with some accessories. He's got this crossbow here, which I think looks pretty decent. It's a kind of friction missile, like a flick fire. You just push it from the back here. I can never get flick fires to work. This fires almost not at all. I mean, there you go. Finally got it to fire a little bit. I just think it looks cool, just as like an energy crossbow. Kind of like what Chewbacca uses in Star Wars. So, I mean, he can hold it perfectly fine, but to get him to point it, unfortunately, the way these arms and everything are, the shoulder can only go up, so you'd have to kind of hold it like this to point it straight forward, or he could hold it from the side, because you can't, like the way the arms are, well, actually, I guess if you turned the whole arm and everything, but it's kind of weird. It's just, like, I guess he could hold it like that, but again, it looks unnatural, so. The other accessories he comes with are these two swords, which I think look pretty good. I'm always more of a fan of a sword than a gun. So you can go ahead and pop these in both hands. And these he holds pretty well. You can also store, you can store the swords here on the wings. These little holes right here. They just peg right in. If I can get this to peg. Apparently it's a two-hand job. And there you go. You can just peg them in on both sides. I mean, if you want to have them pointed like that, you can. You can rotate them around. If you like them better, you know, you could have them pretend to like point out like missiles or impaling weapons or something. So, whatever your preference. And if you just like, I mean, you might just like the look of them kind of standing up like that on the one side. You can peg them in however you like. Strafe's transformation is very simple. I would say by far it's the simplest of all the Dinobots we've seen. You're going to start by just pushing the head into the chest. You're going to flip out these dino heads and then push them together as they go closer to the robot head so that they straighten. And then you're going to just turn them. Now these will kind of loosely click straight onto the, you know, longer neck. And when you push them in like that, that kind of keeps the head from popping back up, so the robot head will stay in place. And then you just kind of flare out the wings. There are little holes right here on the forearms that are going to peg onto these big black pegs on the wings. So you just raise that up and you just click it right on there. And this is why the arms and the wings are kind of on this one piece, because once you click them together, you can kind of do like a flapping motion because it's all on one piece, which is kind of cool. For the legs, you're literally just going to turn them 180 and then fold them in half. And you'll notice this is the foot of the pterodactyl. And that's pretty much it. And then you can just kind of open the mouths. Not really sure why they went with a two-headed pterodactyl, considering that doesn't exist, whereas the other ones are all at least somewhat. I mean, I know they're not historically accurate, but they're a little bit closer. A two-headed pterodactyl, I mean, it looks all right. I almost feel like they just kind of did it to have symmetry in the robot mode with the shoulder pads, but I don't know. I like the big Autobot symbols on the wings on the back here. I really like the painting on the back of the wings, the kind of blue that bleeds into the silver with the dark gray black trim and the Autobot symbol. I really like the color scheme for Strafe. Like I said, you can kind of do like a flapping motion, which is kind of cool. He does have this hole on his back here. You can peg in the crossbow if you like. It's kind of alright. Again, the tail really doesn't. In this mode, I kind of would like the tail to kind of do something like this. Give it like a cool dragon feel. You can also kind of just stand them up. Point the heads down. Maybe point these in a little bit. It's not a terrible dino mode, but I definitely think the robot mode is better. While I don't think Strafe is by any way a bad figure, he's definitely not my favorite Dinobot. I would say if you can only get one or two of these things, I would definitely pick Slug or Scorn over him. The robot mode looks really nice, and I do really love the color scheme. I think the paint is done really well on the wings. I love the kind of blending effect from one color to the next. He's got good points. Like, the robot mode is very cool looking. The Dinobot mode is not terrible. It kind of just looks like he's squatting down. There's really not much to the transformation. I appreciate that he does come with two weapons, the swords and the crossbow. I think the swords are a little bit cooler. I wish the two little tails on the back were more posable. But like I said, at least they're in a pose that I think is kind of cool. Overall, like I said, if you could only get one or two of the Dinobots, he wouldn't be my first choice. But there's not anything significantly wrong with him. I do think the arms are a little weird. I wish there was maybe like another joint or another point of articulation just so he could more naturally hold on to his weapons. And it really looks like at one point those hands were going to fold into the forearm, which I would appreciate for Dino mode, because then he wouldn't just have fists hanging on his wings. So if you could hide them in Dinobot mode, I think that would have been nicer. If they would have put that point of articulation in, he might have been able to hold his weapons better, and also would have hidden the hands in Dinobot mode. So don't really know why that didn't happen. But overall, I think he's a pretty good figure. But please tell me what you think in the comments. Please like and share this video. Please make sure you're subscribed. There's links in the description for my Facebook and Twitter. Please make sure you're following me on there. I hope you've enjoyed this review of Transformers 4 Age of Extinction Deluxe Strafe, and thanks for watching.